the lens, I would say the reasonably biased lens of the mainstream media, but for what we actually represent. And again, I think we represent the values that are universal globally in the U.S. Through all demographics. I mean, we represent what made this country great. It's freedom that has allowed people to dream and aspire and build and create. The kind of opportunity hasn't always been equal, but that's certainly the goal that we all share is equal opportunity for everyone.
Well, we started out as Republicans with the black community. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, why is there a disconnect now many times when it comes to blacks in large, communities like Milwaukee and the Republican Party in the state of Wisconsin? Where's the difference? Why are we not making those connections many times?
I mean, you go back just in terms of history, in terms of which programs, Democrats supported versus Republicans didn't support. I would argue, in terms of the entire welfare state, listen, you spend trillions of dollars, you're going to be benefiting people. And I think Republicans like Democrats want to help people that can't help themselves. We want to help people help themselves. But we don't want to create dependency. We don't want programs that, because of different rules, part of those programs divide families. I think that's one of the real tragedies of our welfare state is, the rules are set up. Fathers can't be with and so we've in many respects divided African American communities and families. So again, I think you have to just look at the reality of the situation and recognize that in general, the goals in life, safety, security, opportunity, being able to take care of your family, these are things we all share. We agree on these. Now, we can certainly differ in terms of exactly how you achieve those goals, but listen, in business, you don't get very far arguing with people, right?
Correct.
Business is finding areas of agreement. I think the same thing's true in politics. I've been saying that ever since I got to Washington, D.C. Let's not concentrate on things that divide us. Mm-hmm. Let's focus on the areas of agreement. If we do that first and foremost, you find out that some of those divisions really shouldn't be dividing us anyway. They're much smaller in comparison to the larger issues.
And I got a question. When we talk about job creation, when we talk about living wage job situations in the state of Wisconsin, especially in the city of Milwaukee, and particularly on the north side of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, why don't we see the job growth of living wage ideas in our community? Why do you think that's going on?
Well, I mean, again, you have decades worth of transition where you had, these
a lot of industries left.
Very large, very union based, but industries go the way of the dinosaur sometimes, or quite honestly, unions sometimes price themselves out of the marketplace as well. They have to compete. So again, there's a multitude of factors. It gets to be pretty complex. I would argue what is not going to bring industry back is government. Government doesn't create things. Government doesn't create jobs. Government hampers those individuals who want to risk their capital.
They want you to depend on them. Many times when I see government programs, a lot of the nonprofits, they thrive off the brokenness many times.
We had a participant in the Joseph Project one time described to our alumni class, said, I've been involved in dozens, that may be an overstatement, but a lot of different government-funded, government-sponsored jobs programs. So the difference between those programs and the Joseph Project is that the people of the Joseph Project are just concerned about me. Mm-hmm. The people involved in the other, not that they're good people, but they're all concerned about their government grants. They're all concerned about their organization. And that's kind of what you're talking about. Government's all about growing government. People who want to grow government are all about having government's largesse sprinkled around to other people. Well, that has come from someplace.
Right.
And the taxes that fund government come from the productive sectors of our economy. And the higher you tax people, the more you regulate business, the less incentive you create for people to have businesses. I mean, in particularly at the lower level. Right. I'm a small company guy. I'm not a big fan of big business. You need big businesses sometimes to do big things. But I think there's been way too much consolidation of industries. So all the small businesses are being bought up by these big conglomerates.
Right.
That's not healthy. Mm-hmm. Then they control everything. When you've got a bunch of small businesses, you've got them competing not only for customers, you have them competing for labor.
It keeps the prices honest.
Absolutely. So listen, I'm a champion of small business. And when you're talking about if you're an economically disadvantaged community, you want small businesses to thrive.
Right.
You don't want government saying, "Oh, you can't do that until you get a permit." You need 10 permits before you can do something. Then
if we ain't buddies, I might not get it after that. If I'm not in your clique, I may not get it.
And where do all those regulations and permits, where do those ideas come from that? A lot of times big business, they want those as a barrier to entry. So well, I don't want competition for my hairdresser business or whatever. So you have to really understand the rent seeking, the way bigger businesses will utilize government to keep out competition and crush the smaller guy. I mean, and the classic example is during COVID. There was a massive wealth transfer, something like $4 trillion from the lower and middle class
the pharmaceutical.
to the first of all, to the very wealthy people.
Correct.
The Jeff Bezos of the world, the big tech social media giants.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of wealth transfer to big pharma as well. But it was the small guys that got crushed. Remember, Walmart never shut down.
Correct.
Smaller stores shut down. Right? Yeah, and those people lost their life savings.
Well, I'll say this. For those that are in the community that's listening right now, what would you say to them about going out to the RNC and checking out what's going on, what the Republicans have to offer at the RNC this year?
So come out and talk to us. Okay, let's, as a community, first of all, be Wisconsinites.
Right.
Now, I remember Charles Krauthammer one time in Fond du Lac gave a speech and said, you always hear Minnesota nice. I say Wisconsin even nicer. And that's just true. We as Wisconsinites are nice people. Let's show that. Let's come on into Milwaukee, or if you live in Milwaukee, mingle. Say hi to the people visiting from outer state. I hear it all the time. As I travel around the country, people say, "No, I went to the Green Bay Packer game. I was wearing my fill in the blank, Dallas Cowboys ball, and people were so nice to me. I always say it helped if we beat you, but again, Wisconsinites have the reputation for being nice. So let's be nice and listen to, have the discussion, have the dialogue. Try not to argue, but don't be afraid of it. I mean, again, I don't agree with anybody 100% of the time. But if you focus on what do we agree on, focus on that first. And I really do think the areas of disagreement will pale in comparison to the large issues that we agree on.
Now, you mentioned the Joseph Project, and for those who don't know what that is, because I don't believe that's being promoted, but the Joseph Project is a project that was started by a local pastor who passed away, and that was giving opportunities to people to come get some training and get shipped out to jobs.
Well, so how it all came about is when I first became U.S. Senator, traveling all over the place, coming to Milwaukee, meeting with the aldermen, and you obviously have higher levels of unemployment and less opportunity here in Milwaukee, and you have all this opportunity throughout the state of Wisconsin. I mean, back then, people couldn't hire enough people. I'm going, how can you make these connections? So then I hired a staff member, Orlando Owens, who's a deacon in the
we know him.
in Church of God of Christ. He knew Pastor Jerome Smith of the Greater Praise Church of God in Christ. He was also up in Sheboygan, where the Sheboygan Economic Opportunity Organization, they're posting like 3,000 or 4,000 jobs. And it just, ideas started flowing. And again, I've always been talking about how can we make that connection? Well, they made the connection. And so they came up with a pretty simple program. It's 4 days, 3 hours a day training, primarily instill the importance of attitude, the commitment to succeed. We have businesses come in. They train people how to be interviewed, how to, the techniques for if you've got a checkered past, how to put that behind, own up to it, but then move forward. And then on Friday, there are real job interviews and people get jobs. And I'd like to say that we've provided tens of thousands of jobs, but we've had thousands of people get employed. And one of the Joseph Project participants, because I often would say, I wish I could say thousands of people had their lives transformed. He goes, Senator, people have. It's not just those of us who've gotten jobs. It's our family. It's our friends. It's everybody that our experience is connected to. You've transformed their lives as well. So, listen, again, I wish it was tens of thousands of people. We certainly rely on the Church of God in Christ to help promote this thing. We've given you cards. Right now, our biggest
I'm gonna hand them out.
Our biggest problem is getting participants.
I'm gonna hand them out.
People want to come and learn about attitude, learn about.
I'm gonna hand them out because I think that it's a lot of people that when they talk about jobs, when they talk about things that they want to do, I think that they don't know the Joseph Project may not be available for them.
No, it's still there. And by the way, you knew Pastor Smith, right?
Yeah, I knew Pastor Smith.
So his wonderful wife, First Lady Markeitha, she could have gone to a shell. I mean, just devastated by the loss of her husband. She didn't. She has taken upon herself to continue the Joseph Project with help of my staff, the help of all these volunteer business organizations. So the Joseph Project is moving forward through her courage and tenacity. I mean, it's Pastor Smith was wonderful. First Lady Smith is wonderful as well. I mean, these are some wonderful people.
Hey, look, when we come back, we got to run the break, but when we come back, I want to talk about this open border that's going on and what should we be concerned about when it comes to our tax dollars and these open border ideas that we're seeing. And I know you're in the meetings, so I want to understand what we may not know about what's going on with the border.
Sure.
Hey, look, Truth Nation, we're in the building with U.S. Senator Ron Johnson right now and Elizabeth Brown. We'll be back with more conversation. Stay locked in right here on Tory Lowe.
Don't touch that dial. The Tory Lowe Show will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Dr. Ken Harris here, and I'm excited about the Truth Partnership with Versity. There is a serious need for blood donations in the Black community, and Versity wants to bring awareness to this because it's their mission to improve patient outcomes, advance the field of personalized medicine, and strengthen the health of communities everywhere. This is why you should tune in every month when a representative from Versity joins the Truth to share about what they're doing to make a difference in our community.
This is Community Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers on 1017 The Truth.
There are individuals in our community who certainly need health services, a variety of health services. What if they do not have health insurance? How can you serve that population?
Our community health center allows patients to come to our clinic regardless of their ability to pay, and that's part of our federal funding. You can come to our clinic and be seen based on what we call a poverty level. So anyone 200% or below a poverty level can be seen in our clinic for anywhere from $20 to $40 for that visit. So in other words, if your visit is a $400 visit and you fall on our sliding scale where you pay $20 for your visit, you would not be responsible for the $400. You'd only be responsible for $20 for that visit. Also, our pharmacy prescriptions are very, very affordable as well. Where you would normally pay, let's say for an inhaler, $240 a month for an inhaler, at our facility that would cost you about $4 or $5.
It's very good to know you guys have a sliding scale that makes it very, very affordable.
Happy Financial Literacy Month from Educators Credit Union. If you're dreaming of financial freedom, new ways to pay down debt, or tips to invest in your future, Educators Credit Union can help. They offer budgeting tools, personal finance courses, and debt solutions to turn your financial dreams into reality. Learn more at ECU.com. That is ECU.com. Membership at Educators Credit Union is open to anyone who lives or works in southeastern Wisconsin, and they are federally insured by NCUA.
Hey Milwaukee, my name is Martina and I'm with the Independent Living Supports Pilot Program team. We help adults 55 plus and those 18 plus living with disabilities, providing up to $7,200 for home services, medical equipment, home modifications, and more. There's less than 30 days left to sign up for this program. See if you qualify today. Call 414-289-6874. Again, that's 414-289-6874. This program is made possible by Milwaukee County and Wisconsin Department of Health and Human Services.
Truth Nation, it's a big week for First Stage. The classic book series is coming to a live stage near you. Diary of a Wimpy Kid musical is coming to life at the First Stage Children's Theater in downtown Milwaukee. Bring the family to see this classic book turned into a musical by visiting firststage.com. The show runs at Marcus Performing Arts Center from April 6th to May 5th. Get your tickets today to see the Diary of a Wimpy Kid musical by visiting firststage.com for tickets.
This is the Tory Lowe Show on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they
101.7 The Truth, Tory Lowe Show. DJ Brother Z on the ones and twos. In the building with me, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. Now, you know, a lot of times when we talk about tax dollars and the border and the illegal migrants that are coming across, and we see these videos, you're in a lot of these meetings. What's going on?
First of all, I have to say, we're talking through the break, and all of a sudden, we're on the air.
Right.
I don't know how you can concentrate that well. Well, you know, unfortunately, we have this idiotic partisan divide on securing our border. It didn't used to be that way. You know, back in 2006, when we had not even close to as big a problem as we had, you know, there was a bipartisan effort. I think 80-some senators, including Barack Obama and Biden and Schumer, they all voted for the 2006 Secure Fence Act because it only makes sense. If you have a nation, you have to have sovereignty. You have to have a secure border. You know, we are a nation of immigrants, and I completely agree. You know, a nation of immigrants, our diversity, that has made our nation. It really has made us strong. I mean, every wave of immigrant has always come to America for what America offers, opportunity. They've worked their tail off. That's over centuries that's happened. So, you know, we need a legal immigration system. What is so troubling about what Biden did, and he you know, Trump had the executive authority. He closed the border, by and large. Got it under control, closed the border. Biden used that exact same executive authority, opened it up. So he wants an open border. The only explanation I have for it is he really does want to, you know, flood the zone. Illegal immigrants are counted in the census, so it's going to plump up number of members of Congress in generally Democrat areas. Yeah, I think
where are they getting the money from to fund all of this?
Well, we're just printing it. That's the problem. Do you realize the dollar you held at the start of the Biden administration is worth 83.8 cents now? That damage has been done. Yeah, I know inflation rates are down, but that devaluation of our currency has already occurred, and it's continuing, just not as rapid a pace. But that's why you can't afford groceries.
Correct.
Combined with a war on fossil fuel, you know, also drives up the price of gasoline. So the very people, I mean, inflation hurts people at the lower end of the economic spectrum the most. So the very people the Democrats purport to represent are the ones that are being hurt most by this massive deficit spending and this massive invasion at our border. It's something like probably 7 million people now. More than 30 states have populations less than the number of people that Joe Biden's let in, and they did it claiming that President Trump's closed border was inhumane. What's inhumane is allowing a flood of people being human trafficked, sex trafficked, the drug trafficking, the fentanyl. Yeah, we used to have meth labs in Wisconsin. I guess one good thing is that we don't have meth labs anymore because they can't make a profit because it's so cheap bringing methamphetamine up through the open southern border. So
do we have
these individuals are going to be working in the underground economy. They're going to be abused by unscrupulous employers. How do you think young women who pay their $6,000, $8,000 human trafficking fee, how do they pay that off? Well, they get forced into the sex trade. So there's nothing humane about facilitating the multi-billion-dollar business model of some of the most evil people on the planet, the human sex and drug traffickers. So
what happened to those kids that they brought in that they said 100,000
nobody knows.
Children then came?
No, nobody knows. Again,
how do they don't know?
Because they don't even try and keep track of it. This all flows into the underground economy. People are abused, and no, it's tragic. Again, we're a nation of immigrants. I want actually a pretty robust legal immigration system because with a legal immigration system, you can control the numbers. You can make sure you're doing it in a way that doesn't depress American wages. It's above ground, so you don't have unscrupulous employers taking advantage of the illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. Again, there's nothing good about this open border. Nothing.
Nothing at all.
And by the way, it is costing hundreds of billions of dollars a year of money we don't have that we're printing that fuels inflation, but that's also money that can't be applied to help American citizens.
When we talk about, repair for the black community, because one thing with black Americans, we watch everything and we don't want to continue to be a political football being passed from one party to another. When we talk about things that concern us like justice reform, we tried to pass a George Floyd bill, where, in 2020, everybody was out here. The world was in an uproar. Where did that fall short, that George Floyd bill?
Well, so let me talk about success we had. So I teamed up with Cory Booker, and I can't remember what the final name was, but it was a Second Chance Act. It's the ban the box, so that employers couldn't have you check off that you have a criminal past before they at least give you an interview. So we got that included. I think that got passed with the First Step Act, which fixed, I think, once and for all the differential between crack cocaine and powder cocaine, which was insane, but devastated the black community. So, I mean, again, this was done under Republican control in the Senate, and so we're trying to move in that direction. I can't tell on this specific piece of legislation. Oftentimes there's like one nasty provision that's kind of a poison pill that people slip in because they really don't want to solve the problem. They just want to create an issue. And that's part of my point here, too, is if you would ask me 5 years ago, what's the greatest threat to this nation, I would have said our debt and deficit, which is just getting worse. But to me, right now, the greatest threat to this nation is our division. We're a horribly divided nation. I think the good news is we're not a naturally divided people. We really aren't. As I said, areas of agreement on the major life goals, safety, security, opportunity, prosperity. That's something we all share, not as Americans, but just globally. So why are we so horribly divided? I think there are elements. I think there are political figures. I think there are political groups that are purposely dividing us for their own political benefit. Because let's face it, politics is about division. There's no doubt about it, where I hate that about it.
It's definitely about division, but we also have to make sure that everything that you said, the prosperity, that all Americans have, we as black people have not had that. If I speak personally, I don't feel that we've had that, and now we're seeing the illegal immigrants coming in, breaking the same law that we are held to, bringing in the drugs that have devastated our community, that we are locked up right now. So right now, black Americans just want to know if there's going to be a connect, because there is a disconnect between the Republicans and usually black people go all the way Democrat. But the question that we have is, what are Republicans willing to do, to have the conversations?
First of all, we want to close the border.
Okay.
I think you've seen.
We all want that.
I think you've seen in my own heart the way we helped start. I've supported the Joseph Project. I mean, that's just a genuine program. Tory, you're saying that's not promoted enough. I mean, one of the reasons I don't want to beat my chest, going, "Hey, what a great thing I've done." I did this because I genuinely want to help people. Okay, and again, I think leading by example is the best way. So I think you see in my heart, I don't discriminate. I mean, I truly do not see color. I mean, I see how people act. I don't like people that commit acts of violence or cheat or steal or lie. But I want to give everybody a chance and an equal chance. And I think that's pretty much what we all share, Republican and Democrat. Now, again, there's always differences in terms of how you
want to go about it.
Past discrimination, okay? Yeah, I think we have come a long way. My concern, we talked about this in the break, about DEI, some of these other things, I think they could actually backfire. I think there could be a backlash. And I don't want to see that. Yeah. We made progress. I want to continue the healing the racial division.
How open are you for us to continue a continued dialogue when it comes to dealing with the Milwaukee North Side and the state and how these things are going? Because I think that we have to start having open and honest conversations about how we can get things done. And many times people will want to have arguments, but when do we sit down and say, okay, what can be done and how fast can it be implemented?
Again, we should be talking about that all the time. And one of the things the Joseph Project did demonstrate is there are really good workers with great attitudes here in inner city Milwaukee. Now they're going into places outside of Milwaukee. I hate to even bring up this example, but early on in the program, it was so successful that there was a pretty large manufacturer that was going to looking very seriously about locating something in Milwaukee. And then we had the, what would you call it, up on Burleigh, and the 7-Eleven got burned. Okay.
Right.
And that caused that business to kind of take a step back. You can say, should have it? Who knows? But I still believe that something like the Joseph Project, where we just tenaciously demonstrate, there are some great people here. They're going to be great workers. why don't you locate your facility here? Now, it doesn't happen overnight. Things like what we passed in the tax reform 2017 opportunity zones. Make those more available. To attract capital. I mean, that was actually a Jack Kemp idea. Enterprise zones. Again, those are sincere attempts. What can we do utilizing tax incentives to incentivize people to take a risk? Because no matter where you locate a plant, it's a risk. There are some places where it's a little bit riskier than others. But right now, I think the riskiest part for any employers, are you going to locate a plant where you can find workers? So you can demonstrate in Milwaukee that you've got good workers and a lot of them, and they're qualified and they'll have a great attitude and they will succeed and they will help your business. And that should be
attractive.
That should be your calling card. And that's what we have. That's the foot forward we have to put. And again, not only does the RNC have an opportunity to come here and talk to Milwaukeeans and demonstrate our good faith and our good hearts, but Milwaukeeans have the opportunity to say, hey, we're ready. We're welcoming you here. I mean, God, let's hope this thing goes out without a hitch. It'd be nice not to have protests. I mean, it would just be nice to have this be, a demonstration of how nice and decent Milwaukee, Wisconsinites are. That in and of itself could get people to open their eyes and go, hey,
okay,
this is a pretty nice place. I mean, you got this. We have our own little inland ocean here, beautiful waterfront. Maybe we ought to. Again, we're going to have business. You're going to have business people from all over the country coming here in Milwaukee. Let's put our best foot forward. Let's have this be harmonious.
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna come through. I mean, like I said,
coming.
the one thing I believe that we need to do now is just look at all sides. And many times when we look at opportunity, we are told, hey, not to go over there. Don't go over there. These people are X, Y, and Z. But yet the same people that told us not to go over there, they over there.
It's over there.
And I
correct.
think that this is an opportunity now for us to ask the right questions, to get involved, to see what's going on, and do our research. Because I think that we want to see some changes and we want to see some results. And I think that the only way that's going to happen is if we open up the doors that we thought were closed or we were afraid to go through to have these tough conversations.
So again, not to beat my chest on the Joseph Project, but one of the benefits of it, I hope, is that people see here's a Republican senator. I mean, you may hate my guts just because I'm a Republican senator. I'm actually more Tea Party than Republican. Here's somebody who did something quietly, but I think effectively, certainly genuinely. Mm-hmm. And I'm not an aberration. I'm not like the only one that wants to see inner cities revitalized, that wants to see equal opportunity for every American. Okay, I think that's pretty universal. Again, Democrat Party and Republican Party, but I think there are a lot of people say that's Republicans. They don't like you. No, that's just not true. Okay.
Well, look, I appreciate you for coming through. You got to keep stopping through. We got to have these conversations.
Happy to.
I appreciate you for coming through with the time schedule you have. But like I said, I want to continue to have these conversations because people need to hear from all sides.
Correct.
And all sides need to be at the table to try to make some changes. Because I'll say this, we need results. And many times we're only going to get those results by confronting those that's empowered to try to make the tough decisions.
No, listen, I appreciate the opportunity. Do you take call-ins?
Oh, yeah, we take
so that's obviously always a lot easier for me to call it. I mean, I'm calling into radio shows all the time.
Okay.
Awesome. Have me on as a regular. I will be a regular.
All right. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Look, Truth Nation, when we come back, we'll have more conversations. Stay locked in right here on Tory Lowe.
The Tory Lowe Show returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Eagle Sports Range has an unbeatable offer on concealed carry license classes. For just $49, enroll in their 3-hour class led by expert instructors prioritizing safety. Learn laws, techniques, and mindset for responsible carrying. Stick around for an optional hour of range time with instructors included in the package. Practice under professional guidance and gain confidence. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day at 2525 East Layton Avenue in Cudahy. Secure your spot at eaglesportsrange.com. Eagle Sports Range, where safety meets skill.
The biggest names in the basketball world.
Dame Dollar.
Lillard.
Having fun and honest conversations.
He puts it in the shoe, right? And sets the tone for brothers and sisters and family.
Every week, Thanasis Adetokounmpo sits down with special guests on Thanalysis Show. Presented by Carbless ready-to-drink cocktails.
Fantastic.
Find Thanalysis Show on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube by searching Thanalysis Show.